something happening in New York City. New York City keeps doing insane things. Cost of living aside, they have some really great laws for rideshare drivers, but they recently put cameras, congestion cameras. So if you drive through this camera at a certain part of Manhattan, you have to pay a fee. And Uber and Lyft drivers have to pay that fee every single time. It's bad. So here's another thing that they put in us Uber drivers in New York City will have to deal with. City Council approves installation of noise cameras in select spots across the 5 boroughs. If you like to keep your hand on the horn while driving, you could face big fines. The City Council just approved a bill to install a noise camera across the 5 boroughs. In the city that never sleeps, New Yorkers say that noise is keeping them up at night. That's good. That's a creative pun right there, I guess. The construction noise, one person said, I wake up at 3 in the morning and it's like people honking on one another. Every day, I'm surprised we haven't heard it right here. Another set of the noise. On Wednesday, the city council voted to quiet the cacophony. I don't know what that word means, by approving a noise camera program targeting excessive honkers, modified mufflers, and loud motorcycles. Let's see what they're saying over here.
Listen on the mopeds and the mobile scooters, and maybe start having them get licenses and maybe use that as a way to build revenue instead of continuously charging, drivers additional fines and fees.
The Department of Environmental Protection, who has been running a pilot program since 2022, supports the technology. Writing obnoxious noise from illegally modified cars and trucks is a top quality of life complaint for New Yorkers.
Sure, I agree with that, right? Loud mufflers, sure. The solution isn't to fine people for honking their horn. You go and pull over those cars with the cops who are in the city and you make them do something about it. This solution is too overreaching.
Officials say 8 cameras are currently in use. And so far, the department has issued 218 violations for modified mufflers and 147 violations for excessive honking. The city says the new noise cameras will be up and running no later than September 2025. On the west side, Christina Fan, CBS 2 News.
So they're out there now for you New York drivers. Be aware of them, but it's going to be out there in full effect by 2025. So it's something, careful when you honk. All right, so this is actually close to home. This is in Charleston. This is some shenanigans that have been happening. And I think I'm gonna let the video run for this. Here we go.
While dropping off and picking up passengers along King Street. The issue stems from an ordinance that was put into place by the city of Charleston back in 2016. But rideshare drivers say it hasn't been enforced until recently. Emily Johnson breaks down their concern.
But what a lot of drivers are running into now is because this new ordinance has kind of caught them by surprise, they don't know what to do.
The ordinance created years ago states rideshare vehicles cannot pick up and drop off passengers on portions of King Street and Market Streets on Friday through Sunday from 12:30 a.m. until 3 o'clock a.m. But on New Year's Eve, Uber drivers say signs were posted informing them that from 8 p.m. until 3 a.m. passengers could not be picked up or dropped off on King Street.
The more drivers that are not able to pick up on King, that means riders may just decide next time, if they have a hassle getting picked up, they may just decide to I'm just going to drive.
That's it. Here we go again with the either or. I don't think that's the case, and that's not what I've experienced. I think news should not have aired that. What's happening with Lyft? Lyft makes it so that passengers can't be picked up on King Street, but you can be picked up on the side streets. But the ticket for this is like $1,000. And so yes, this has been a law for a while, but they've only recently started to enforce it. And it's really, they did it without warning. They didn't warn any of the drivers. They just started doing it. I'm not a huge fan of how they rolled it out. It's pretty disappointing.
That puts more drunk drivers on the road.
City of Charleston Police Lieutenant Corey Taylor, who is the commander of this downtown area, any drivers on King must find a parking space or unloading space to drop off or pick up, and they can't stop in the middle of the road. The ordinance has been enforced less over the
They're saying we should find a parking spot. They put cones on the street in all the parking spots. They literally tow every car that's on King Street like 3 out of the 4 nights a week if you're parked there. I'm not a fan. That's a PR statement. I don't like that.
Years due to change of leadership and COVID, but Taylor says they're now working to enforce the ordinance again because of high levels of traffic on King Street.
I don't see what COVID has to do with enforcing your laws or not enforcing your laws.
Uber drivers also say when these tickets were handed out over the weekend, it created miscommunication between themselves, the city and police department, making the conditions that they were working in even more frustrating while they were just trying to keep people safe.
Biggest thing would be communication from the Charleston Department as well as council. We're here doing the exact same thing, that we want to make sure that people are going to make it of the night.
Other than communication, both drivers say establishing pickup and drop-off zones could help drivers and law enforcement to organize the chaos.
I think that's the next step. I don't know where they do it. Maybe they use there's a center that has a pretty big parking lot, but there needs to be like, if you're a city official, if you're a cop, whatever, you have a law and that law is going to create problems elsewhere. It's in your best interest to create a solution for the potential problems that law is going to make. I feel like that should be obvious.
It's a pickup zone. You know exactly where to go. Rider knows exactly where to go. There's very minimal risk to passenger safety, and no concerns with drivers.
And to say these areas are the perfect places you can go to help out and make sure everyone is available for that same information, it would make the process a lot easier.
Taylor says CPD is in the process of updating the ordinance and creating a pilot program by the end of the month for pickup and drop-off zones. He also adds they contacted Uber and Lyft to create a geofence at pickup zones to inform riders where to meet, helping communication.
Uber has not done that. I drove a lot this weekend. They haven't done that yet. Lyft has. Customers can't put pins to be picked up on that main street, but they do it. So they do it on the side street. And that has helped a lot. I didn't realize how much of an issue it still was until I started driving back with Uber like this past weekend.